I think it was around the 1 year anniversary for Solo, a Star Wars story. There was a movement online in the Star Wars fandom called Make Solo 2 Happen. And this campaign kind of blew up on Twitter, and even people at Lucasfilm noticed, or people who were involved with Solo, the original one, like Ron Howard, who was the director who was brought in after Phil Lord and Chris Miller left the project, and this caused the film to have major reshoots, make it the most expensive Star Wars film to ever be made, and also the least successful one as well. But still, they brought in Ron Howard and Jon Kasdan and Lawrence Kasdan, father and son, to team up and write Solo, a Star Wars story, and even these people were recognizing the Make Solo 2 Happen campaign. So it seemed like there was enough of a push for Lucasfilm to continue and develop maybe a sequel to Solo, a Star Wars story. The name's always just been bad. I really don't like the name Solo, a Star Wars story, but Make Solo 2 Happen was a thing. I don't know what they would even name Solo 2, but we'll just call it Solo 2, which also makes no sense as a name, good god. Jon Kasdan, one of the writers on the movie, actually came out and said, "Don't think anyone's pursuing a Solo sequel at the moment. I think a feature at this point would be a tough sell to the Disney Plus Star Wars slate. Is really packed. Oh my bad, really pretty packed. All shows I'm looking forward to. My work on Indy is long over, but I'm excited. There's forward movement." And of course he's bringing up Indiana Jones 5, which is getting ready to go in production over there at Lucasfilm, I think, because I don't know. Actually, I don't know what's happening now because of this whole worldwide shutdown on everything that's going on. I don't know what's going to happen with Indiana Jones 5, but I think he makes some good points on why Solo, a Star Wars story 2, Solo 2, wouldn't happen. Is that from a financial standpoint, just looking at it, if you're Lucasfilm or Disney, this is the only Star Wars property that has ever flopped and not done well in the box office. And you'll have some people on certain sides of the fandom who say, "Oh, well, it flopped because of the boycott and because of The Last Jedi." That's a factor, sure, but it's not the main reason. And other people are going to say, "Oh, it's because of, I don't know what else there was, a lack of marketing." And that's also kind of true, too. I mean, there's just so many factors that it does boil down to. It came out during a perfect storm. It wasn't released in the right time frame. The reshoots is what really killed it. I mean, literally doubled the budget on the production side, so that kind of hurts it a little bit. And so a lot of things went into Solo not being a success, but there was also a lack of interest by general audiences because this is not the Han Solo people know. It seemed like an unneeded story. And a lot of people who like the film use this very overused term in the Star Wars fandom, which is this movie is underrated or underappreciated. And a lot of people say that with Solo. They say, Solo, a Star Wars story, is underrated, it's underappreciated, it's not that bad. And they're right, but it's also not that good either. I mean, it's just a solid story, but it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be a Star Wars film. Like, it's not a very unique story that's being told. It just happens to be set in the Star Wars universe, which is why a lot of people like it. It's an okay film. I think I've seen it maybe twice since it's come out. Like, when it came out, I saw it, and then maybe one time after. But I just don't see any future for the character of Han Solo in that time frame and in that time period. I think maybe the side stories like Kira and Darth Maul could potentially be something that we could explore, but it doesn't have to have the kid who plays Han Solo, Alden, to come back. It doesn't have to have that same cast of characters. It can just be a little bit of a continuation of the story, if you will, kind of like a little spin-off show that we've heard that they're supposed to be doing. I think I reported on it a month or two ago. I had some sources who told me that Lucasfilm is actively looking at Ray Park to reprise his role as Darth Maul in a possible live-action show, is what I would say. I mean, they didn't specify on what they're looking at him for in terms of if it's a show, if it's a movie, if it's an animated show, whatever. But I mean, if Ray Park's being involved, it's likely going to be a live-action form of Darth Maul. And everyone loves Darth Maul. He was probably one of the best reveals of Solo, a Star Wars story. And I think his return in that movie gave room for growth in terms of character and story arcs and what we can do with Darth Maul as a criminal overlord and big gangster kind of guy that he has going on right now in his life before what happens in Rebels, where we find him kind of all alone and isolated. It would be nice to see that fall in terms of status, I guess, for Maul, and see how that goes with him and Kira, because she's a big part of that story as well. Could have been a good spin-off series, but if Jon Kasdan says there's nothing in the works for it, I think he'd be one of the guys to know about it, because I would likely tap him to write the story again. Maybe that's me giving him too much credit, maybe they're not bringing him back into the project, but I think he would be one of the people who would know about it, since he wrote it with his father, and I mean, they're very well connected over there at Lucasfilm. I just think if anyone's gonna work on it again, you'd want to get some of those guys who actually made the story what it is involved again. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Should there be another Star Wars film continuing the Solo storyline? Should it be called Solo 2? Are we gonna make Solo 2 happen? Are you part of that campaign? What do you think? Should there be a sequel to it? Should there not? Do you think Lucasfilm is gonna pursue this route, or do you think they're gonna do kind of like a spin-off show from Solo with just like Darth Maul and Kira or something like that, but not really bring back the entire cast from Solo? That's the route I think they're going. Like I said, they're looking at Ray Park right now for more Darth Maul stuff. It just makes sense that it would be that story. It just seems too obvious to be that story, I guess. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts below. I'm Star Wars Only. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your thoughts and comments below. I'll see you all next time, and may the Force be with you. Always.